Hello, welcome to the next chapter. I'm your host, Riva Stewart. Today we will be traveling to the capital city of Cuba, Havana. Havana is home to just over 2 million people. I'll be staying in a couple of different casas during my time here. Casa Particularis, in my opinion, is the best way to see Cuba. They're homestays, similar to Airbnbs or bed and breakfasts. I love them because you're able to spend time with the Cuban people up close that live and work in the homestays. You feel like you're part of the neighborhood. In most cases, casas offer breakfast. Oh my goodness, it was so good. The fresh juices, amazing. The only drawback I would mention to the casas are the mattresses. They're not quite as comfortable and soft as the hotels, but considering I'm going to be out and about most of the time, it's no problem whatsoever. Many of these casas are listed on Airbnb and on Booking.com. However, if you book a tour with a company, then they'll usually handle all of those arrangements for you. You may notice the little red and blue anchor signs on the doors. These signify establishments for tourists and those for the Cubans. So the blue anchor is the one you'll be looking for. The red anchor means that they host only Cubans and they take only the pesos. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about pesos, let's talk a bit more about currency. First, American debit and credit cards will not work. Cash is king here. The dollar has a horrible exchange rate. It's 1-to-1. So I purchased British pounds before I left the States. Euros and Canadian are also an option. There is a 3% exchange fee, and if you bring American dollars, you'll be charged an additional 10%, which means for every $100, you will get only 87 Cuban convertible pesos, or CUCs, in return. You can exchange your money for Cuban currency at airports, hotels around the city. So let's talk a bit more about the CUC, of the CUCs. Now, be careful what type of bills you get. There are two kinds in circulation. Those the tourists use, which is the Cuban convertible peso, or the CUC, and those the locals use, the Cuban peso nacional, or the CUP. The easiest rule of thumb to ensure you get the correct currency is you want the one with monuments on them. The one with people on them is the local currency. Okay, we're all unpacked and time to stretch our legs. So not too far away from my casa is Bispo Street. This is the main street for shopping and dining. There are public buildings, stores, cafes, bakeries, hotels all along this street. It dates back to 1519, only 4 years after the founding of Havana. It's a busy, lovely street for a stroll, and for me, somewhere to grab lunch. There are so many little streets and avenues just bursting with colors and sights and sounds. The Malecon is the most famous seaside avenue in Cuba. It's the best place to take a stroll or hang out on a hot day. Unfortunately for me, I'm here on a rainy day, so it isn't as occupied and beautiful as you might experience. Though I rather like not having a whole bunch of crowds, so it is kind of cool to be out here even though it's rainy. And I'm going to be sure to stay on this side, a little bit away from the wall, because these waves that are crashing can come up pretty high and over. I am not trying to get snatched over into the sea. Hamel's Alley is a narrow 2-block-long alley in central Havana. Over the years, it's become a shrine to the Afro-Cuban religion Santeria. The buildings are lined with brightly colored paintings and murals and sculptures and objects which depict rituals and deities by the artist Salvador Gonzalez. Also, Rumba groups play here every Sunday. Of course, I'm not here on that day, but I am determined to get my dancing in soon. That's it for this chapter. Thanks for joining me. Please subscribe to be notified of any new episodes. Remember, life's too short to be anything but happy.